Thank you so much for staying here on the JoyNews channel with me, Benis Abubeidulansa. We've been bringing you live visuals from the Makola market. There's a fire currently ravaging a three-story building. It's been on, eyewitness to say, for about 3 hours, but we've seen or witnessed the fire service try to douse the flames for the past 2 hours. And our man, Manuel Cranting, is still on the ground reporting live. Earlier, we saw reinforcement from different departments or different branches of the Ghana Fire Service supporting the Makola branch. And we also witnessed some orders being given on the ground for some different form of chemical to be used to douse the flames. But as it is now, we have only witnessed water being used. We'll find out later from the Ghana Fire Service why that is the case. And the eyewitnesses claim that at the time the fire started, on a signage or a signboard close to the building, the fire service claimed it didn't have water to douse it, and so hence the spread. And we've been witnessing what appears to be real frantic efforts by the fire service to deal with the situation. The police service is also on the ground, dealing with crowd control, also trying to prevent some criminal elements from taking advantage of the situation to loot and rob. Also, we've seen the presence of the mayor of Accra, Mohamed J. Soa, at the scene, and he's also been telling us his thoughts on this particular incident. We spoke to victims of the fire, some of them who claim they've lost goods worth over 70,000 cedis, some of them not even able to quantify how much they may have lost at the moment. And so this is a real race against time to prevent the fire from spreading to adjoining facilities. If you know the Makola area very well, you know that there are a lot of buildings quite close to each other, and the GCB Bank is quite close to this particular building, which is still burning as at the time we left the scene. We'll try and raise Manuel Cranting on the ground to give us the very latest. Thankfully, we haven't reported any casualties so far. But one woman who says that she has a shop where she sells lace mentioned that her sister had given her a call about the fire, but she's yet to find her. Obviously, there's a lot of activity happening over there, but she appeared a bit apprehensive that she could not find her sister. Hopefully, she'll be found safe. But what it is now is that the fire service is still trying very hard. And we saw that more fire tenders were brought in to douse the flames. There was a turntable introduced. And earlier, if you were watching, people were actually complaining about why that particular fire tender was not being used, the one which has the ladder, which could help the firefighters get close to the top floor where the fire was spreading rapidly. Later, that was brought in, and the Ghana Fire Service explains to us that it takes about 8 minutes for the water in their tankers to run out and their tenders to run out, and that's why they keep moving up and down trying to get more water to fight the flame. So hopefully we'll be getting more on this from the fire service, especially the response to the claim by traders and also eyewitnesses that earlier response was not appropriate, and so the fire spread. And so we'll be getting you more on this here on the JoyNews channel. Manuel Cranting is still on the ground. He explains the heat can be felt way down the building, and so you can imagine what those around have to endure. There are bystanders, some recording with their phones, some who are cheering the fire service team on. When we saw a fire tender which had military people in there, the cheers got louder. And so you can see that these are people who are also rooting for the fire service to deal with this as soon as they can, so that the fire is contained and doesn't spread to other facilities. But as it is now, that three-story building has many shops destroyed, many goods destroyed by the fire. So we'll speak to Manuel Cranting, who's still live on the ground while we try to wait for the live visuals to come. He joins us via phone. Hello, Manuel. So what's the very latest? Has the fire been contained now?
Well, Ben, I can confirm to you that efforts are still underway to tame the fire. As to whether or not the fire has been tamed, because we're just seeing with every passing minute some spontaneous explosions that are coming from the core of the building that is actually on fire. And so just before we went off, we got you pictures of the turntable lamp now deployed to get a better access into the building. Well, I see from where I stand currently, the pressure on the turntable together with the hose that is being used to discharge the water just gradually running out. And I see the water that's being pumped out of the tender gradually also running out. And this is indeed just like DO1 Ellis Robinson, who speaks for the Ghana National Fire Service, told us a couple of minutes back. This is the 7th tender which is being discharged. It is almost running out. And just to confirm to you, an 8th tender has now been deployed. And so water now that is being used to douse the flame is coming from an 8th fire tender which has been brought to the ground. And so currently, still the fire is raging on with very, with pockets, really, pockets of fire at the edges of the building, still gaining access and gaining prominence within the main frame of the building. And that's what we're having here. I cannot report that indeed the fire has been brought under control because from what I see, there's still a very potent fire that is blazing from the middle of the building. And that's what we're seeing, Bennett.
Manuel, so earlier when you were reporting, and you did just mention the bit of occasional explosion, we witnessed something drop to the ground. In your interaction with the fire service, are there any plans of evacuation once these explosions keep happening? And there are concerns that the people who are standing and witnessing this incident may be affected?
Well, Bennett, the closest perimeter of the building that is seen, which is currently on fire, we're seeing people evacuated from there. And on the ground, we are seeing officers from the Ghana Police Service who are actually now creating an inner perimeter to give unfettered access to the officers, or the fire officers, to be able to fight the fire. For now, I do not see bystanders getting closer to the main building on fire. That's an indication of a perimeter that has been created by the firefighters so that they can, as it were, maneuver their way in accessing the building which is currently in flames. What's more, though, is that there is a human traffic that is being caused because the entire main avenue of the Makola stretch has been blocked with people not being allowed to have access due to obvious reasons. And the effect of that is the pavement on which regular people would have been using now is blocked, first of all, with people who are viewing and watching on as the efforts by the fire service personnel to douse the flame is underway, and then people who are looking for access to other parts of the city. And now it is skin to skin and body to body as people try to get access into other avenues within the central business district. But from where I stand, there's no movement to and there's no movement through. That's the picture that we're seeing, Bennett.
And Manuel, earlier you spoke to some people whose shops have been destroyed by the fire. Have you been able to spot any more of them?
Yes, really devastated folks currently, and because of that has been created by the officials from the fire service, it's really difficult to cite those who have their words in the inferno. But a few of them that I've spoken to are really distraught, and some mention as much as 20,000 Ghana cedis worth of goods that are currently in things. We've also seen, I spoke to just a couple of minutes back, a lady who said she sold wigs and hair products. That shop also been burnt to the ground. And now the lintel and the beams of the three-story building, starting from the very top, are now falling off in pieces. And that's what we're seeing. And in your shop, Ghana, if you have it, parading the ground and assessing the situation is the mayor of Accra, Mohammed Lee Ajay Soa. Well, he's been telling me that his initial interaction with the officers on the ground revealed that there's been a real challenge in getting access to water. That confirms the earlier accounts that was given to us by the eyewitnesses who said when the first fire tender got here, it had run out of water. Recently, Ajay Soa said that even though there are hydrants within the radius of the fire, the building which has now been caught by fire, they are low on water. And so the hydrants are there, but do not contain water. And so they travel really a distance to get access to water, now return and begin to douse the flames.
Finally, Manuel, earlier you had reported that you had had some orders for foam or some other form of method to be used to douse the flames. Do we know why water is still being used?
Yes, and that's what we're seeing currently in this pattern that you're seeing in your shot. It's not just water that's coming out. We're seeing white foams that are coming out of the fire tender. Earlier, commandos were being backed out to the officers on the ground to change and use foam. And so currently, on the turntable ladder, at the very apex of the turntable ladder, the water that is being discharged is actually a mix-up of foam. We are learning that the nature of the fire actually calls for such a mechanism and a strategy to bring it under control. The good thing, however, then is that I can report to you is that in the past 2 hours or so that the fire has been blazing, it has not extended to any adjoining building. We cannot see the fire extending to any adjoining building. It is just spreading and moving from one point to the other in the same street that is currently on fire. Bennett.
Right, Manuel Cranting there joining us live from Accra Central, Makola to be precise, where that fire is still ravaging, and we understand now that some form of chemical is being used to douse the flames. Hopefully, the Ghana Fire Service will be able to deal with the situation and bring it under control. But thank you so much for your company on this very extended edition of News Desk with me, Bernice Abubeidu Lansa. We've still got our eyes on the ground at Makola, and we'll be bringing you more. Don't go away yet. In about 7 minutes, we'll be back with the midday news. Do stay.